Every great program has a foundation. Here is no different.
And he hooked and left. Florida State wins.
The expectations are clear.
Well, the first champion of the 21st century in a Florida State Seminoles.
Those are the champions of college football. It's caught! It's caught! It's caught! Touchdown FSU!
The celebration begin in Tallahassee.
Every brick has a story.
Most famous plays in college football. Some razzle-dazzle. Touchdown!
It's the details.
All you gotta do is execute.
Beyond what is obvious. Fortifying our destiny.
Florida State rules the BCS.
So the climb starts now. Let us give everything we have.
Find a way to win it.
You're Seminole! You fall!
Take advantage of the opportunities, though.
If we gonna do it then,
How you don't remember us? A lot of work to do, man.
Commitment. Little things. Intensity. Mental toughness. And brotherhood. Climbing on this foundation. That's the Seminole legacy.
Welcome to National Signing Day. We're here in the Champions Club 2020. National Signing Day, early period. I am Brian McFadden. I played here at Florida State from the years 2000 to 04, drafted in the second round by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm happy to be back. I hope you guys are excited about what we're starting to create here. And I once was told, to get to a championship, you got to go through the war. And I think we're currently going through the war, and it's now it's time to get to that championship route. And I think this is where you start a championship foundation with signing elite-like players, most importantly, good people. And I'm here with Coach David Johnson, running back coach, recruiting coordinator. So when you talk about the recruits that we just signed and the recruits that we will sign, he knows everything about them. So we're going to tap into his mindset where we currently are with this class that we just signed. And we still have a few guys that we expect to be signing in the next few days. But Coach, man, looking at the process right now and where you guys are as a staff, talk about the recruiting strategy, the things that you set forth for yourself to be able to get the kind of kids you want to get into the program.
Obviously, we're really excited right now. I think the biggest thing, and Coach Norvell just said it on the video, we look for kids who are committed to doing the little things. As you talk to coaches and you speak with parents and different family members, we want to find out everything about that kid. I think the most important thing is the evaluation process. You have to, and this was a little different this time around because you couldn't get your eyes on them, be able to see them in person. But obviously, a few of us been recruiting these kids in the past. But to evaluate the right kids, make sure they're able to come in, do the right things. The little things are important to them. See what type of mental toughness they have. And when you ask those questions and getting the right kids, we're really excited about the 16 that we do have. And out of the 16, maybe 5 visited the campus. So to have a relationship with a really good coaching staff, with a head coach like Coach Norvell, who's able to get on Zoom and kind of win anyone over. Yeah. They can feel his passion even over Zoom. So I think that was really big for us.
Talk about the adversities you guys face as an entire staff. You said signing 16 kids, but only 5 physically visit the campus here. And that's extremely important for a prospect to be able to come personally and see the campus, see the environment, and most importantly, talk to you guys face to face. You didn't have the luxury of doing that. So talk about the adversities you guys faced and still being able to get the prospect to feel comfortable along with their guardian, understanding the process that they will be involved in the next 3 to 4 years.
I think the most important thing is being consistent. I think the staff, from the recruiting staff, everybody was consistent with talking to these kids, on a weekly and daily basis. They always got something from Florida State. And they can kind of feel our passion, understand that we were real honest with kids. We were real honest with parents, understanding what they were going to get into. One thing about the coaching staff, if we're talking to prospects, we let them know this probably going to be one of the hardest things that they can do is coming to play for us at Florida State, meaning that we're going to put the pressure on them. We're going to make sure they're doing the right things on and off the field. We're going to demand they do the things right in the classroom. So they understood that, and we were really consistent with our message. Again, letting them know when they get here, we're going to send back a better young man. We're going to send back a better husband, a better father. So they understood football was a part of it, but it wasn't the major process.
One thing I know Coach Norvell emphasizes, and I think the same can be said throughout the staff, fit. Yes. Right, you emphasize fit on the football field, in the locker room, in the classroom. What determines if a kid is a good fit for Florida State?
I think the biggest thing after you go through the evaluation process and seeing the football part of it, just seeing what type of person they are, trying to really get to know their families, what's important to them. And those are the questions that we ask. And you go to our locker room and you look in our locker room, our kids have pictures of the most important people in their families. So on a daily basis, they get a chance to, when they come back and it's a tough day, they're not just playing for themselves. They're playing for people who sacrifice for them to get here. So when you look for kids like that, we want really tough kids. We want hard workers, not kids who just work hard when they're trying to get something. It's just a part of them. And we know through that process, wins and losses are going to take care of themselves.
And outside of fit, I know personally just being a former player, character is something that is huge. On the football field, off the football field, and seeing the process that you guys are currently involved in, seeing some new faces come around the building, some old faces leave the building. How important is character?
I think that's one of the most important things, because we have to trust you when you're not around us. We have to be able to have you go to different families, and you're going to do things in the community. So we don't want to make sure we don't want to damage this brand. This brand is too important to too many people. So having great character is important to us.
Yeah. And later in the show, when we bring the OC and the DCs on, we'll specifically talk about each player. But looking at the 16 guys that currently just signed, along with some of the guys you expect to sign in the next few days, was there a particular unit you wanted to address, a unit of need, to say the least?
I think the biggest thing we kind of talked about early on was the defensive line. When you start talking about winning championships, basically you start talking about defense. Guys stopping the run, so we concentrated on that. On the back end, with so many people passing the ball, you want to make sure you have defensive backs with great ball skills so we can get turnovers. And obviously you want to address the offensive line. Those guys up front, they control everything. And I think we did a good job with that. And obviously, Dude got some really good receivers in here who could stretch the field. Maybe not like he did, but they can definitely stretch the field. So that was another big need for us, receiver spot.
When you look at some of the kids that you signed, do you believe there could be some early impactful players that could really make a difference early in their career, maybe their freshman year, or do you believe some of these guys need to develop first to be able to make their mark?
Obviously, you're going to see once they get on campus, but that was our selling point to these kids. You can be able to come in and actually have an opportunity to play now. We're not promising you anything, but we will present the opportunity to you if you do the things that you need to do. And obviously, we have a lot of young kids playing right now, and we just want kids the best players are going to play at Florida State, and that's the bottom line.
And speaking of best players, I think any quality team has quality depth, especially at important positions. The most important position on the football field is the quarterback. Yes. We made big news a few days ago when Mackenzie Milton decided to make it known that he would like to attend Florida State. How excited are you and the staff knowing that you have a guy with a quality sound resume in the collegiate level, not to mention known to be a real good ideal leader for a football club? How excited are you about Mackenzie?
Really exciting. Whenever you can get a veteran guy in, especially at the quarterback position, which is one of the most important positions, like you just said, on the football field. I think he's a quality leader. He's a known winner. We can see that he always went against his staff at his previous university. So we're really excited about that. We know he's going to bring something to the table on and off the field.
Yeah. And when you look at the entire class, could you fill us in on the final number of prospects you would expect to have signed, not just in the early signing day period, but the final day signing day period in February?
Well, basically we can sign up to 25 for this class.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we're doing it right. We want to make sure we have the right numbers. We have 16 right now, and we're expecting a few more guys to sign within this weekend. But 25 is our number, trying not to go over that.
What are you guys looking to hit on, not just in the early signing day period, but the final day signing day period as well?
Continue to get quality players who could fit. You never turn down offensive linemen. You're always looking for good quality offensive linemen. The same thing with defensive linemen. And if you find a home run hitter from receiver spot or running back spot, you can't pass up on great players.
Based on the players that we've seen, and I'm really excited about this class, I hope you guys are as well. Are there any surprises that we should look forward to within the next few days with any prospect that you guys are crossing your fingers with?
Well, we just have to wait and see. Can't mention any names, anything like that, but our biggest thing is making sure we find a playmaker. We need to find one or two more playmakers, and we crossing our fingers, toes, and everything else to make sure, this happens for us.
Well, we're going to cross our fingers and toes also, but final question for you, Coach. We have a lot of faithful fans here in the building, supporters as well. Tell them maybe a final statement about this class, why we should be so excited about this class.
I think the biggest thing is we found some quality kids who want to be at Florida State, and that's what you want. You want kids who want to be here. And these kids were breaking out the door, making sure they get an opportunity to get on that field and play for Florida State.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Coach Johnson, running back coach, recruiting coordinator, dropping some cool nuggets. We're getting ready to go to a commercial break, but when we come back, defensive coordinator Adam Fuller will be joining me. We're back, and of course I might be a bit biased, but I believe defense win championships, and they win a lot of ball games as well. And with that being said, we got the defensive coordinator here, Coach Fuller, joining me to talk about these outstanding defensive prospects that you guys will be seeing running sideline to sideline in the near future, causing a lot of havoc and being extremely disrespectful to any offensive team we face. I believe defensive players should be mean 24/7. And with that being said, Coach Fuller, thank you for joining me here at National Signing Day in the Champions Building. Get ready to talk about some of your outstanding defensive prospects that you will be coaching in the near future, you and your staff. But before we tap into each player specifically, how excited are you about the guys you recently just signed?
Well, it was really exciting, just the opportunity to go through this process for the first time and develop relationships with these guys and know the people that we're able to bring in here to Florida State. We don't have any questions about who each of these individuals are, and just knowing the people, the families, having some background with these individuals just makes it that more exciting because we feel like we know what we're going to get.
Well, first off, we're going to start with the first level guys, which is the guys in the trenches, the heavy hitters, the guys that like to move a lot of weight and push people around. We got a local prospect from Gaskin County, Joshua Farmer, defensive lineman, heavy hitter, 6'2", 6'3", can move around a little bit. Tell me a little bit about this kid and why we should be excited about Joshua Farmer.
Well, Josh was actually our first commitment. Josh was somebody that we had seen on film, we were excited about. We got coached by a former Seminole and Corey Fuller, so he came really highly regarded. So we watched Josh on film. He showed up to campus on our first junior day, and right away his length and just his frame jumped out. So that matched up with the film right away. So we offered him at that point. And like I said, he was our first commitment to jump in. He's been great the whole way. He's an extremely hard worker. The work he's put in and just his skill, we think he'll start out at N, possibly go into a 3 technique, and we think he's got a great future here.
Okay, the next player up in the trenches, Chambry Jackson from Boone, Florida, a guy that had 14.5 sacks. He's a terror on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. Why should we be excited about him?
Yeah, I mean, Chambry, I think he's one of the better athletes at defensive tackle in the country. He showed up here in the summer with his mom and was a really disruptive force out there in Boone, and he's got progressively better. He's somebody we worked really hard to establish a relationship with early. Got him to commit here over the summer, and he stuck with us the whole way, and we think he's got major impact. He's got a great frame, great athleticism, and he's a violent player, Brian.
One player that I love from St. Aug, Louisiana, I think he has one of the best get-offs out of the guys I watched on tape, and Byron Turner. Tell us a little bit about Mr. Turner.
Byron's a true defensive end. The thing about him is you talk about violence and aggressiveness. When he tackles people, he literally tries to put them through the ground. He's extremely violent. He's long. Yak did a great job recruiting him, had a relationship with the family. So it was a high-need position, and his length and aggressiveness jumps out right away. And he's got a great fit in our defensive scheme.
He's always the first man off the line of scrimmage, and that's a very, very great trait to have for a defensive lineman. You don't want to be the last man off. You always want to be the first man off, so make sure you monitor that. And this was a big get for us. We were able to steal a player from a university, and I think anytime you can do that, that's a huge achievement. And being able to flip George Wilson from the University of South Carolina from Virginia Beach.
We knew going into this recruiting class we needed to get more athletic as an edge on defense, especially at defensive end. So we identified George early, but because of the COVID and not being able to get him to campus, we lost the initial. We weren't able to develop the relationship we thought. Well, then things changed here over the last month and a half with George. He reached out to us. We developed the relationship necessary, and he's somebody that we are extremely excited about. He immediately makes us more athletic as an edge of the defense, as a pass rusher and as an edge setter.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the defensive lineman. And one thing that you guys should understand and pay attention to, you see the trend. The edge rushers are guys that can bend. Bending is very, very important when you talk about putting pressure on opposing quarterbacks. You want to be able to dip that shoulder and also play with a mean streak. And I think we were able to find those said players, and hopefully those players develop and be the type of superstars we believe they will be. So when it comes to defensive dominance, right? You have to start with the first level guys, which is in the trenches. The second level guys, which is the linebacker core, that's another important asset to the defense. So you guys just learned something. First level guys are who? Defensive linemen. The second level guys are who? Linebackers. Okay, let's like we in class. I know a lot of you guys haven't been in class in a long, long time, but there's always an opportunity to learn when you're talking about football. So let's tap into the linebacking core, outstanding athletic group as well. The first guy we would like to highlight, Patrick Payton, South Florida kid from Miami Northwestern. Throw the Bulls up.
I'm telling you what Patrick is the requisite of length and athleticism, and I think we're actually going to probably start him at Fox on the line of scrimmage. And Patrick is somebody that we had some relationship with some of the coaches down there. We wanted to see his development, especially in his senior year. And I mean, every time he took the field, he was picking balls off, sacking the quarterback, scooping scores on fumbles. He impacted the game in every way his senior year in a shortened season. So he is absolutely, with him and George Wilson, those two type of guys that we put on the edge, Chambry, Josh, Byron, I think we've absolutely made ourselves super athletic, and we love the playmaking ability of Patrick.
And I love his ability on special teams as well. He shows up big time on special teams. The next linebacker, Jordan Eubanks from Geyer, Texas.
Well, we had some relationships with the high school coaches down there, and Jordan was somebody that we had ranked really high early in the process. He played more safety at Geyer, but we see that transition and down as an outside linebacker because of his length. He's a really natural tackler, plays really good in space, plays violent at the point of attack. And again, anytime you can take a long safety that's physical, it really is going to fit into how we want to play defense here at Florida State at linebacker.
The next player right up the road, Lake City, Florida, coached by Brian Allen, my former teammate here at Florida State, Shaheem Brown. 2019, he played cornerback, so I know he has some athleticism.
Brian, you know you love those quarterbacks on defense if they're physical enough.
Yes, sir.
That's the thing with him, you know. And coming from, a Knoll with Coach Allen, you know, said, listen, if there's a player that could have played for us back in the day, Shaheem is one. And so right away that got our attention. We turned the film, and he makes plays all over the field, whether it's defense, offense, kick game, blitzing, coverage. So I think Shaheem's got a chance to play safety, outside backer, see what his frame takes, but he is an absolute playmaker and real hard worker and tough player.
There you have it. We got a trifecta. We just read off 3 outstanding up-and-coming linebacks, extremely athletic. So hopefully you guys will be seeing them in the near future flying around sideline to sideline as well. Now, the most important unit on the defensive side, and these are the guys that's on the 3rd level. You know who these guys are, right? The secondary guys, right? I'm gonna need y'all to liven up with me a little bit. We need to get some, we got any drinks in the building? Y'all need to get some drinks in the building or something. Y'all need to liven up for me, because this is a great day to be alive, number one, and we just signed an outstanding class. So these are the guys in the secondary, and this is where you make your money. Coach, this is where you make your money. This is where you get raises at, too. You know, we bring off picks,
Say
you
that
get
out
raises.
loud.
No
Yeah.
question. Everybody eats when we make these picks, so you guys wanna see outstanding play in the secondary, you got to be able to get talented players in the secondary, and I'm very, very excited about this group. Starting off with Amarian Cooper, a talented player from Lehigh, Florida, West Coast Florida, South Florida, South in Fort Myers area. Talk about Mr. Cooper. Duke is what they call him.
Yes, sir. Amarian Cooper goes by Duke, again, coached by a former Seminole and James Chaney down there at Lehigh. You know, and Duke, right away we identified Duke. He's a 6'1" corner that has really good feet length, and Chaney says he's one of the most competitive kids he's ever coached, and you see that show up time and time again. Very willing tackler, but has above the line ball skills, really good tackle skills, and his footwork from his junior film to his workouts going to his senior year. Duke was somebody that we really coveted for a long time. He jumped in the summer, and we feel extremely excited about what he brings to our secondary.
Well, one kid that I really love playing the cornerback position, I think his off technique is phenomenal. He plays with good eyes. That's Hunter Washington from Katy, Texas.
You know, and Hunter's somebody that we're going to start him at corner. I think he's got enough ball skill and enough talent in space to play safety as well. Super competitive. He was somebody Marcus Woodinson had a relationship with when he arrived at Florida State, so we had the initial relationship there. And Hunter's a playmaker. He does things at all different spots in the secondary, has a really good knowledge of the game, and plays with great angles. You know, had some big plays here late with Katy, who's a really good football program, and I think Hunter will bring a lot to our football program.
As you guys watch Hunter highlight, look at the off technique, look at his eyes he's playing with, and look how he attacks the football. That's what you would like to have from your cornerbacks, guys that can play bump and run coverage and off technique. And the final guy from Hollywood MacArthur. Guess who the other corner that ever played for Florida State from Hollywood MacArthur? That's me, Kevin Knowles. The thing I love about Kevin Knowles, I can give you a breakdown about Kevin Knowles, but I'm gonna let you have it. His ball skills, watch how he attacked the football. But Coach, what do you tell me about Kevin Knowles?
Kevin is the ultimate nickel corner type athlete. He's got exceptional feet. He's aggressive. He plays with great instincts. You throw him the ball on offense, he scores. You know, he is everything we're looking for in a Seminole as far as who he is as a kid, his work ethic, his quickness, his toughness, his pad level. I think he brings everything we're looking for in a DB here at Florida State.
Outstanding group from the first level, second level, and third level, but give us a little insight. Is there a particular player you believe could make a day one? He could be not necessarily a day one starter, but he can definitely make an impact day one when he steps on foot.
Yeah, you know, that's always a
campus.
great question. I think the DBs have the best chance just because of just the ability to play in some space, right? I think it translates better early, but we recruited some really good line of scrimmage players that I think should have an early impact, especially on third down. So, I mean, that group, I think there's a lot of players that can fit into that.
Well, thank you, Coach Fuller, for breaking down these prospects that we will see causing a lot of havoc every Saturday here in Tallahassee. You guys need to be fired up as well. Coach Adam Fuller, defensive coordinator. Up next, we got the offensive guys coming to show a little love. Coach Dillingham will be joining me next. Talk about the offensive players we just signed.
Corbin, the running back, takes the handoff, cuts it to his right, breaks the tackle, shook a leg, inside the 5-3-2-1, touchdown FSU. Boy, here's the snap on first down, draw play, handoff, and a great run up the gut to the 20, 15 to the 10, 5-3-2-1, touchdown FSU, touchdown Florida State. And will carry the ball. Jordan Travis up the gut, makes a guy miss. He's to the 10, 5, give him 6 points, touchdown FSU. Left to right toward the south end zone, and guarded jerseys, handoff, and running up the gut, out across the 40, to the 45, to the 50, Lawrence Toafili, nobody is going to catch him. Fake the pitch and Lloyd downfield. Pass down the post route. Wide open. It's Ja'Kai Douglas to the 20. He's going to go all the way. Touchdown Florida State. How about them Noles?
Welcome back. I'm Brian McFadden here, Champions Club, with offensive coordinator Coach Dylan Ham. And behind every great defense, you have a good offense that can put points on the scoreboard as well. So you guys heard what I said. Behind every great defense, you have a good offense. You know, we really don't care about these guys, but you should be used to that right now.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Norvell says we play offense with a defensive mentality. So.
Exactly. It comes with the territory, but appreciate you joining me here. We just went over the defensive class, you know, some talented players, but you have some talented players on the offensive staff as well. And we're going to start with the big uglies, you know what I mean, the heavy movers, man, the guys that like to eat a lot of barbecue and eat a lot of bread. Carbs are good for these guys. And we're going to start with offensive lineman Rod Orr, talented prospect. Tell us a little bit about Rod.
And Rod Orr is a big, long tackle. And he has a big, long left tackle. And that's something we really needed in this class was length. We needed guys who could protect the quarterback with their length. He is developmental. He's a guy who's Coach Atkins is going to get his hand on, and you're going to see him drastically improve, similar to our situation this year. And he's a kid with unbelievable potential, and he fits us because of his personality and his work ethic. That's the one thing. It's the one trend in this class you're going to see is you're going to see guys hungry to be the very best they can possibly be, and those are the guys we're looking to get.
Yeah, the next player coming up, Bryson Estes, talented offensive lineman as well, from Eagles, Landon, Georgia, right tackle in the center, a guy that never blocks with dead feet. His feet is always moving, something I love to see from my offensive lineman.
There's no question. He is a powerful mover of men.
Yeah.
I mean, when you turn on the tape, his feet never stop, like you said, and he moves people. And we see him as an interior guy for us that can bump out the tackle, but he's a jack of all trades. He can play center, guard, tackle, all over the place.
Yeah, and one thing I like about the offensive linemen that we signed, they play mean. You got to be mean. You got to be mean and ugly and nasty to be in the trenches, but do it in a professional way if you can. I don't know if that's even actually possible to happen. But one thing I talk about the feet moving. Anytime they make contact, their feet never go dead. Coaches always emphasize for blockers, you need to have live feet. You can't have dead feet blocking anybody because you never be successful in doing so. Your job is to make the defender go the opposite direction, and the only way you can do that is by having live feet. So we talk about the offensive lineman talented group, but we have some talented guys that can catch the football and run block and pass block and need be in the tight end, starting off with Jackson West from Huntsville, Alabama.
Jackson West, this is a kid that we actually saw in camp a few years ago, and he's underrated for how fast he is, really good ball skills, but more importantly, he's a guy who can put his hand in the dirt and knock somebody off the ball. And the thing that excites me most about Jackson is he texts me and says, hey, Coach, I've been watching your games on YouTube, and I see the routes that you're running, so I've been practicing them with all my buddies in the backyard. This is a guy who wants to be the very best he can be, and he is studying our games, practicing what we're doing, and he's already learning our system right now. So he has a passion to be the very best he can be.
Yeah, one thing I like about Jackson, he's a splash player. I mean, he creates big gains for the offense, and I love that ability from the tight end position. The next tight end is more of a vet, JUCO prospect, and anytime your first name is Kobe, you better be great. We're talking about Kobe Gross coming into town in Tallahassee in the near future. Tell us about Kobe.
Well, no doubt, especially if you're a Kobe from California.
Exactly.
That means you better really be great. So he obviously had family out here in Florida, so he grew up being a Florida State fan. And we watched this tape, and this is another guy who can put his hand in the dirt and block, but this guy's ball skills are extremely underrated. I mean, he's been out there working, sending us videos almost every day, and this guy is going to be a playmaker for us.
And one thing I like about both prospects, they seem like they love the game of football. And I think you need to love whatever it is you're doing because it never feels like work. It only feels like a part of life, and you want to be successful in that area of your life. So when you love it, that's one thing. And also, too, these two guys can coexist because you look at Jackson, he's more of an athletic, receiving tight end, but he can block as well. And Kobe is a mauler. He's a guy that loves to lay on top of you and create pancakes. So I like that ability with both guys being able to coexist. So I know you have some nice formations get up for these guys going in the near future. So you look at the tight end position, I think we're happy with those guys, but now you got to look at the prima donnas, the wide receivers, right? Let's keep it real. Most wide receivers are prima donnas, especially if they're not getting their targets. It's your job to get them targets. So hopefully this guy complains about getting too many targets because that's to be a good thing, something we never heard a receiver do ever in their life, complain about too many targets. Talking about a kid from South Carolina and Joshua Burrell. Tell us a little bit about Mr. Burrell.
I mean, Josh is a kid. He's 6'2", 215, 220 pounds. He runs low 4.5, strong hands, strong runner with the ball. I mean, when you watch him play, if the ball's in his hands, he becomes a running back. When you watch him play, when the ball's in the air, he goes and gets it. So he's got that great balance of being that big wideout that can go win contested catches, but he's that guy who wins that contested catch, shrugs off the corner, and goes for 70. And that's something we needed, was somebody to go make those contested catches and somebody who could make a play with the ball in their hands, and I think he can do both. And to fit the mold, this is another kid, all he knows how to do is work. Work, work, work. And he fits that mold of what we were looking for.
And guys, when you listen and when you're looking at the highlights, please pay attention to these kids and the little things, the effort, the hustle, the want to. Those are things you can't teach, you can't coach, you just have. And I'm pretty sure you guys have a lot of quality sound attributes about yourself because you're successful. And I know you're successful because you're here with us. And if you wouldn't be here with us, you probably wouldn't be successful because most of your pockets are fat. See what I did there, right? Most of your pockets are fat. Last but not least, let's talk about the most important position. I kind of highlighted this player earlier in the show, but you will have an opportunity to coach this kid. Mackenzie Milton had an unbelievable collegiate career thus far at UCF, over 8,000 yards through the air, over 1,000 yards rushing on the ground. We know he had an ugly injury a few years ago, but tell us about the expectations for Mackenzie and being able to create depth at the quarterback position, and what do you believe he could provide for the program?
I think the culture that he's going to create, I mean, that's a kid who hasn't played for 2 years, but he's been around that program and he's molded their quarterback to where he has had all that success. And for a veteran guy to just come into that room, the culture he's going to be able to create and teach our guys what it takes to be successful. And that's something, every coach can say, hey, go watch film. And you need to watch this film on your iPad for this amount of time. It's third down cut-up day. It's red zone cut-up day. But it comes a lot different when it's a peer doing that. So our guys like Jordan, Tate, Chubba, having a guy like that who says, okay, this is really what it takes to be successful, right? In the offseason, getting guys out to throw when we're not around. What he's going to bring from all those elements, right, is something that's never going to be talked about, but that is the key thing he's going to bring, is he's going to bring all those intangibles to that QB room to show them what it takes to really take that next step in our room, because we love where our room's at. Yeah. And I mean that. I love Jordan Travis, Chubba, Tate. We have a lot of guys in there that are going to be successful, and adding a veteran like that, it's only going to make everybody in that room better.
Coach, last question for you. When you look at the offensive lineman, your tight ends, the wide receiver, and I wouldn't say Mackenzie because he's a veteran player, but do you believe there's a young player in the offensive group that you just signed could make an early impact for the team?
I think similar to what Coach Fuller said, anytime you're removed from the ball, it's easier to make an early impact because the physical maturity isn't as important. So I think Josh and the wide receivers obviously have a more natural ability to make an impact early.
Yeah, well, there you have it. Coach Dillingham, offensive coordinator for Florida State, here talking about the offensive prospects we just signed. We get ready to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we got the head man in charge coming up and joining me, Coach Novell. Welcome back. I am Brian McFadden here in the Champions Club, going over the first signing day of the 2020 period. Talked about the defensive guys, talked about the offensive guys, and now I have the head man in charge joining me here, Coach Norvell. An exciting class, Coach. But before we talk about some of the players we just went over, tell us a little bit about the entire process. Gathering the prospects in this very, very difficult, abnormal season. How difficult was it for you and your staff to be able to come up with a quality, sound recruiting board and being able to execute and getting some of these guys to sign?
Well, it was definitely a challenge this year, with COVID, the quarantine, the dead periods that showed up. It really, tested our staff. And, I'm so very grateful for every department that played a part in being able to present all the great things at Florida State, to be able to present the opportunity for these young men, as we work through the evaluation, make sure we're able to check off all the boxes to find the right fit for Florida State. And I think we've done that with the 16 young men that have signed here today, expecting a couple more they're going to come up. But every department plays a role, whether it's athletic training, strength and conditioning, academics. I definitely have to give a shout out to our recruiting department and all the presentations, the virtual tours that we were able to create to be able to send out to these families. And then our graphics department, I thought they did a wonderful job today in helping highlight this class that has come together. And it can't be done, by just one single person. It really is a collective effort, and I'm so grateful for our staff and the job that they've done. And I think that we've checked off the boxes on these first 16 that we've been able to sign, and we'll have a couple more coming.
Now, I know it was a very difficult, period for you guys because of the pandemic, but tell us the difference in this year compared to last year when you kind of came in on the back end, you and your staff, and trying to, expedite the process, getting guys to sign and beat the time period with signing day compared to having a full year to kind of orchestrate your board?
Well, it's been great to build those relationships. And last year we came in, I think I got hired on December 8th, and it was, I want to say 7-8 days later, we had the early signing period, and we were able to attract a lot of quality young men that came in. And then you look at even the second signing period and signing guys like Robert Scott, who's started almost every game at right tackle for us this year. It's all about making sure that you find the right fit. What are the needs? Assess the needs that we have, and then make sure that we're going to be able to fill those needs with who you're bringing in. And you see us you have that focus today, but being able to build those relationships. And I think it was interesting as you listen to our class, how many of these players or coached by former Seminoles. Mm-hmm. And that's something that's important because they know what it takes. They know what it's supposed to look like. And that's something that we're getting back to, is the importance of representing the brand, how we do things on the field, off the field, in the classroom, in every aspect, because it is an honor to be a Florida State Seminole. And we want guys that are passionate about living up to that expectation, not settling for just what everyone else is doing. And that's something that was important. And that's what I'm excited about with this group that we're bringing in.
And main thing that I hear you talk about, and the same can be said for your entire staff, is the fit. What specifically are you looking for in a prospect when it comes to fit?
Well, everybody looks at, the measurables. And trust me, I want the biggest, fastest, strongest at every position. But I want the 5-star mentality. Right? That's something that's critical, because everybody talks about the stars and what the playing ability is, but there's a lot of 5-stars out there that have a 2-star mentality, and that doesn't turn out very well. Yep. I want guys that are overachievers, the biggest, strongest, fastest, best football players that bring versatility to your program, because as we get them here, it's our job to develop them. It's our job to put them in the best position to be successful, to showcase their skills, but it all comes from what they have inside, what they have in that heart, that drive, that edge, and then being able to apply the knowledge and the experiences they have to get better every single day. And the thing I'm excited about is the competition we're bringing to our football team. I mean, you look at, we've got a football team with the youngest football team in the country. 75% of our roster are freshmen and sophomores. And then we're bringing in a group that's going to come in and from day one going to push those guys for their job, for their opportunity, and then being able to do it in a collective manner to where we're going to continue to build our depth, but also our explosiveness in all aspects.
You said something right there. You mentioned thinkers. You talk about guys that are well developed above the shoulder, and I believe having smart football players is the best way to score a lot of points and stop a lot of people. But not being able to see these guys in person and talk to them and understand where they are mentally when it comes to the football aspect and the football IQ. What was the process like for you guys in being able to understand, this is a kid that can handle everything we may throw at him. This is a kid that can adjust on the fly. This is a kid that will not make the same mistake 3, 4, 5 times in a ball game. How was that process, not being able to physically talk to these guys and see where they are when it comes to the football IQ?
Well, we tried to create as many opportunities to talk ball as possible, and we were able to do that virtually. You get a lot of information from their coaches, and you try to get that information from the player. As we're talking film, a lot of times we'll go through and basically teach an install of what we'd want them to do, and then really kind of force them to regurgitate the information that we just provided. How attentive were they during the details, the things that we expect them to do? And then I tell our football all the time, the greatest talent that you have is knowledge. If you can use your mind, right, and be able to apply it in all aspects, learning from the experiences, having confidence in the work and what you're supposed to do, because, running a 4.4 is great, but running a 4.4 in the wrong direction is slow.
No question.
Right? And so we want guys that can maximize the ability that they have, but make sure they're maximizing it in all aspects, and being able to use the mind is a critical factor.
No question, no question. What's your final statement about this class and why we should all feel excited about the guys that we will be cheering for in the near future?
Well, we signed 16 football players today, guys that love this game, guys that are passionate to be successful, guys that understand the expectation, right, of what it is to be a Florida State Seminole. It's not going to be easy. They're going to be challenged. They're going to be challenged on the field. They're going to be challenged off the field, in the classroom, and in all aspects of their life. And they're going to be held to a standard of excellence, because that's what this program stands for. That's what this program's all about, and that's what we're going to continue to build with our foundation and where we're going. And I'm so excited about the young men that we're bringing in, the families, and all those that have helped support them in their journey. And there are great days ahead, and I'm so excited about the key pieces that we were able to add to the class today, and what we're going to continue to be able to do with the rest of the class that's coming.
And most importantly, we want some guys that are going to kick some people in the face, right? We want face kickers, especially Hurricanes and Gators. We want to kick them in the face every chance we get. That's the standard here at Florida State. Thank you, Coach Novell, for your time, man, going over this outstanding class, man. Coach Novell, give him a round of applause, please. Joining us here at National Signing Day, early signing day period. Thank you. We'll get ready to wrap it up in a few, but check us out. And before we go, I want to make sure I make this announcement. We get ready to give our free drinks to everybody in the building. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. That was a tease. That was a tease. That was a tease. We're taking a break right here. We'll be back in a short second.